The young and the restless spoilers, the unmasking of Holdem in the quiet town of Havenridge, where secrets simmered beneath the surface of daily life. The monstrous entity known as Holdem had finally revealed his true nature. For years, Holdem had cloaked himself behind the guise of Damien, a name that, for some, symbolized honor, strength, and hidden charm. But as the delicate threads of his plan began to unravel, a truth emerged: Holdem was not Damien at all, but a cunning impostor whose deceptive veneer had crumbled under scrutiny. His carefully constructed world of lies had fallen apart, leaving him exposed and desperate to salvage his ambitions by any means necessary. A betrayal from within. The revelation did not come without a cost. Whispers of betrayal circled around Audra, a once trusted figure whose actions had inadvertently unmasked Holdem's true identity. Although her intentions had been mired in a complex web of loyalty and self-preservation, the fallout was clear. Holdem, furious and humiliated by the exposure, deemed Audra responsible for his downfall. As if driven by a malevolent need for vengeance, he set in motion a harrowing plan to kidnap her, believing that through her suffering, he could restore his shattered power and strike back at those who had dared to defy him. Audra's ordeal. Audra, now the unwilling protagonist of a nightmarish saga, found herself in the clutches of Holdem. Separated from the sanctuary of familiar faces, she became the prey in a perilous game orchestrated by a man desperate to rewrite his destiny. In the cold, foreboding confines of an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of Havenridge, Audra's cries for help echoed into the void. Every anguished scream was a desperate plea to a world that seemed indifferent to her plight. Locked away from allies and stripped of hope, she realized that her only chance at survival lay in the strength of her own spirit, a resolve that had been tested by betrayal and isolation before. Amy's turbulent reunion. Meanwhile, in a twist of fate that compounded the mounting chaos, Amy encountered a revelation that would forever alter her course. In a moment of poignant irony, she came face to face with her long-lost child, a reunion that should have been filled with joy, yet was tainted by discord. The bond between them was fraught with tension, their reunion overshadowed by mutual resentment and the weight of past grievances. For Amy, the recognition of a child she barely knew sparked a new desire for revenge. The old wounds, still raw and festering, demanded retribution. With her heart hardened by years of neglect and betrayal, Amy vowed to take vengeance on those who had wronged her, even if that meant aligning herself with the very forces of chaos that now roamed Havenridge. A chaotic alliance, Holdem and Amy. In a manner reminiscent of notorious figures like Ian Ward and Jordan, Holdem and Amy forged an uneasy alliance. Their motivations, while individually rooted in a desire for personal retribution, converged into a partnership that threatened the fragile stability of the town. Together, they embarked on a rampage, a calculated series of events designed to dismantle the social order and leave a trail of devastation in their wake. Their actions were a blend of raw aggression and cold strategy, each step taken with the knowledge that their targets were not just individuals, but the very institutions that upheld the community of Havenridge. As Holdem sought to restore his twisted sense of power and Amy wove her vendetta into the fabric of the town's unrest, their collusion was nothing short of catastrophic. Like puppeteers pulling at the strings of chaos, they unleashed a series of incidents that rocked the community to its core. From targeted attacks on prominent figures to calculated acts of sabotage, the duo's reign of terror was both unpredictable and terrifying. Nate and Devon. The helpless guardians amid the escalating turmoil, two individuals, Nate and Devon, stood as the town's last vestige of hope. Bound by a shared commitment to protect Havenridge, they tirelessly searched for Audra, their determination fueled by both duty and personal concern. However, every lead led to dead ends, and every cry for help met with silence. Their frustration mounted as they navigated a labyrinth of misinformation and deliberate obfuscation, all orchestrated by the machinations of Holdem's influence. The duo's anger was palpable. With each passing hour, the danger grew, and their inability to locate Audra weighed heavily on their consciences. They had witnessed firsthand the destructive potential of unchecked ambition and the high price of betrayal. Yet, despite their skills and unwavering dedication, they found themselves powerless, trapped in a game where the rules were constantly rewritten by unseen hands. The town in turmoil as the sun set over Havenridge, casting long shadows over its troubled streets, the full extent of the chaos became undeniable. The town, once a bastion of quiet, orderly life, was now a stage for a brutal spectacle of power struggles and shattered loyalties. Citizens huddled in fear, their lives upended by the relentless assault on their sense of security. The pervasive atmosphere of distrust and despair was the breeding ground for further conflict, a vicious cycle that promised no easy resolution. Holdem's transformation from a shadowy figure into an overt threat had not only undermined the community's sense of safety but also laid bare the vulnerabilities of those who had once been considered its guardians. His actions had sown discord among the once tight-knit alliances, leaving a void that was quickly filled by suspicion and hostility. Meanwhile, Amy's quest for revenge had blurred the lines between right and wrong, her personal vendetta spilling over into the public sphere and affecting even the most innocent bystanders. The inevitable confrontation in the heart of this maelstrom, an inevitable confrontation loomed. The fractured alliances and simmering tensions were on a collision course with a reality that promised redemption for some and further damnation for others. Audra, though isolated and battered, harbored a spark of resilience that could not be easily extinguished. Her ordeal had forged within her a determination to survive, and perhaps, in time, to retaliate. Whether she would emerge as a catalyst for change or remain a tragic casualty of Holdem's dark ambitions was a question that hung heavy in the air. Nate and Devon, despite their current impotence, were far from defeated. Their anger, tempered by years of experience and the scars of past battles, signaled that they would not allow the town to succumb to chaos without a fight. With every fiber of their being, they prepared for the day when the scales of power might finally tip back in favor of justice. Their mission was clear: rescue Audra, dismantle the malignant alliance between Holdem and Amy, and restore order to a community on the brink of collapse. A future unwritten. As the night deepened, the paths of these troubled souls converged in a fragile moment of shared destiny. The lives of Audra, Amy, Holdem, Nate, and Devon were intertwined in a narrative that was as unpredictable as it was tragic. In this dark tapestry of ambition, betrayal, and revenge, every decision held the potential to either ignite further chaos or spark the dawn of a new beginning. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, one that would force each character to confront the demons of their past and decide the course of their future. In the quiet moments before the inevitable storm, one truth remained clear: Haven Ridge was at a crossroads. The actions of a few had ignited a fire that threatened to consume the entire town. And as the forces of retribution and redemption clashed, the ultimate outcome was uncertain. Could justice prevail in a world where betrayal ran deep? Would the spirit of resilience be enough to overcome the pervasive darkness? Or would the town be forever trapped in the cycle of violence and despair? Only time would reveal the answer, as the battle lines were drawn and the destiny of Haven Ridge hung in the balance. This narrative weaves together the intricate details of betrayal, kidnapping, and revenge while delving deep into the emotional and psychological struggles of its characters. The story's multifaceted conflicts, ranging from personal vendettas to communal unrest, create a rich tapestry of tension and drama, inviting readers to ponder the complexities of loyalty, justice, and redemption in a world where nothing is as it seems. Amy's reluctant alliance. Amy, entangled in this web of vengeance and opportunism, had her own reasons for joining forces with Holdem, even as she recognized the peril of such a partnership. Her relationship with Audra was fraught with bitter memories and unresolved grievances. Once upon a time, they had shared a connection that hinted at possible reconciliation, but the years had eroded any remnants of affection, leaving behind only the desire for revenge. As Amy watched Audra's impassioned defiance, she felt a stirring of old anger and the thrill of a challenge. Perhaps, she thought, aligning with Holdem, however reluctantly, would finally allow her to settle scores that had long festered. But even as she plodded alongside Holdem, Amy couldn't shake the nagging doubt. The plan was perilous, and every scheme carried its own price. The possibility of blackmailing Nate by holding Audra hostage, a plan that could fatten their pockets with an enormous ransom, seemed both brilliant and grotesque. Why not, she whispered to herself, if you can have power, why not have money as well? Yet, for all the allure of wealth, the ultimate goal was clear: to extinguish the spark of defiance that burned within Audra. Nate's growing dread far from the scheming of his adversaries, Nate was consumed by a gnawing sense of dread. Days had turned into an agonizing wait as he tried, fruitlessly, to contact Audra. Each moment of silence on the phone, every unanswered call, felt like a step deeper into an abyss from which there was no return. His mind raced with worst-case scenarios, and despite his best efforts to remain rational, panic steadily clawed at his resolve. Nate's heart pounded with the realization that something was terribly amiss. The absence of any communication from Audra was not just a signal of her possible capture, it was an ominous sign that the forces working against them were more formidable than he had imagined. His instincts screamed that time was running out, that the window for a rescue was rapidly closing. Yet, with each passing minute, his determination grew stronger, even as he was enveloped by the chilling realization that he was utterly alone against an enemy whose ambitions knew no bounds. A web of intrigue and treachery. As dusk settled over Haven Ridge, the disparate threads of this treacherous tale began to weave themselves into an intricate tapestry of conflict and impending doom. Audra's fearless taunts, echoing defiantly in the silence of her temporary confinement, had only deepened the resolve of her captors to bend the situation to their favor. Holdem, torn between his desire for ultimate retribution and the lure of financial gain, weighed his options with a cold, calculating precision. Amy, caught in the crossfire of old grudges and fresh ambitions, found herself oscillating between reluctant ally and bitter adversary. In a twisted turn of fate, the possibility of using Audra as a bargaining chip took root, a prospect that threatened to transform the nature of their conflict entirely. If Holdem were to proceed with the plan to abduct Audra and leverage her as a means to extort Nate, it would mark a new, dark chapter in the ongoing power struggle. Such a move would not only secure a vast ransom but also serve as a potent symbol of his dominance, a final, ruthless blow to those who dared oppose him. And yet, even as these ideas festered in his mind, Holdem remained acutely aware of one unyielding truth: Audra's indomitable spirit. The inevitable confrontation back in the shadowed corners of the building, Audra's defiant words reverberated with a promise that could not be ignored. "Nate will come," she had declared, her voice unwavering despite the dire circumstances. The promise of rescue was more than a mere threat, it was a lifeline, a beacon of hope that resonated in the hearts of those who still believed in justice. And indeed, Nate's frantic efforts to reach her, despite the overwhelming odds, hinted at the beginnings of a reckoning that could shake the very foundations of Holdem's empire. As the night deepened, the battle lines were drawn with stark clarity. Audra's fearless challenge, combined with Nate's desperate determination, set the stage for a confrontation that would force every player to confront their deepest fears and darkest ambitions. The thought of a reunion, of Nate finding Audra, and of her unyielding spirit clashing with the cold brutality of Holdem's plans, was enough to spark a series of events that would alter the course of their intertwined destinies. Yet, amid the growing tension, a chilling question loomed: what if Holdem chose the path of blackmail instead of outright murder? The possibility of him using Audra as a bargaining chip, holding her captive to force Nate's hand and extract an enormous ransom, was a gamble that could either solidify his power or lead to his ultimate downfall. The mere idea sent shivers down the spines of those who understood the stakes involved. The calm amid the chaos in the days that followed, the fragile equilibrium of Haven Ridge teetered on the edge of chaos. Audra's defiant declaration had set in motion a chain of events that would ripple through every corner of the town. Whispers of her survival, her resilience, and her unwavering spirit became the rallying cry for those who still clung to hope. And as Nate's frantic search continued, the town braced itself for the inevitable clash, a showdown that promised to be as unpredictable as it was explosive. For Holdem and Amy, the stakes were equally high. Their alliance, forged in the crucible of ambition and mutual desire for revenge, was a double-edged sword that could either deliver them to the pinnacle of power or plunge them into irrevocable ruin. Every moment was a dangerous dance on the edge of a knife, where one wrong move could unravel the carefully constructed web of treachery. In a final twist of fate, the specter of blackmail loomed large, a grim possibility that threatened to tip the scales irrevocably in Holdem's favor. Yet, even as he weighed the dark allure of a hefty ransom against the brutal simplicity of eliminating Audra once and for all, one fact remained undeniable: Audra's spirit was unbreakable. And that, more than anything else, was the one thing Holdem could neither predict nor control. The dawn of reckoning. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, casting long shadows over Havenridge's battered streets, the stage was set for a confrontation that would decide the fate of everyone involved. Nate's determination to rescue Audra burned brighter with every passing moment, fueled by the silence that had become unbearable. His heart ached with worry, yet he knew that this was a battle that could not be postponed any longer. For Audra, every second of defiant solitude was a testament to her resilience, a reminder that no matter how far she was pushed, she would never be a passive victim in this twisted game. Her words had been a clarion call to all who had ever faced oppression, a promise that she would endure and that justice would eventually prevail. In the end, the destiny of Havenridge and the lives of Audra, Nate, Holdem, and Amy hung in a delicate balance. The lines between right and wrong blurred in the murk of vengeance and desperation, leaving nothing certain except that a reckoning was at hand. Would Nate's coming rescue shatter Holdem's plans and restore a semblance of order, or would the allure of blackmail and unbridled ambition plunge the town into further darkness? Only time would tell. As the sun rose, its light revealing the scars of a town caught in the grip of conflict, one thing was clear: the battle for control, for survival, and for redemption had only just begun. And in that uncertain morning, Havenridge braced itself for the storm that was about to break, one that would test the limits of loyalty, love, and the very nature of justice. This narrative integrates Audra's fearless challenge, Holdem's dark designs, including the chilling possibility of blackmail, and Nate's growing despair over his inability to contact her, setting the stage for a dramatic showdown that promises to reshape the fate of all involved.